So, hello again. This is the percentages video part 2. I'm going to go over percentage word problems. I know word problems are scary and we're going to try to get through them without causing us too much distress. And then we'll go through and try to solve some problems, both the word problems and otherwise. So, without further ado and whatever else, let's get to it. It's not going to hurt, I promise. Okay, so let me change this over to the, let's see, look at the camera view. Okay, the handy dandy whiteboard. Okay, so the first thing to know about percentage word problems, as with other word problems, is how to translate them from words into math problems. So, what you have to do is remember your math language. So, step 1, find the word is. Because in math language, the word is a very specific word, and it means equals. Is equals equals, if that makes any sense at all. So every time you see the word is, that means you know that's where the equal sign goes. Okay, so that's the center of your equation. Equation being another, another word for saying that we're going to be finding things that are equal. Step 2. Everything that comes before the word is can be changed into math symbols and written to the left of the equal sign, and everything that comes after the word is should be written to the right of the equal sign. So when you find your is, which is equals, everything that comes before it can go to the left. Everything that comes after it can go to the right. And remember, when you have the equal sign, that means that this is and this and this is going to be the same in value, not in actual words. Okay, so there's that. Step 1. Step 2, your is, everything before it can go to the left, and then everything after it can go to the right. Okay, so step 3 then, if you want to write that down, you can. Take a minute. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now we're going to go on to step 3. Look for keywords. So what, one of the keywords would be the word what, or perhaps even what number. That means that is the unknown. That's what the value you're going to try to find, is that what number. So it's an unknown number, and it's usually represented by the X. Now, it can be represented by other letters, and you're going to see that when you do more and more algebra, that sometimes it could be an A, sometimes it's a Y, sometimes it's a K. It just depends on whatever it is you're doing. But X is the most common one. So we're going to go with X. Of, many of you already know that, of is multiplication. So multiplication, like we've learned it so far, is usually with an X. But when you're using an X in algebra, you use a dot. So 2 times 3. equals 6 rather than 2x3, 2 dot. Okay. Percents can be represented as decimals. So whenever you see a percent in a word problem, more often than not, you're going to have to change that into a decimal. So if you see a percentage, move the decimal number from, remember, it's the invisible. So if you have 40%, you're going to change this into a decimal, and you're going to move it over 2 spaces to the left so that your number then becomes 0.40, or actually even just 0.4. Okay. And then step 4, you have your number sentence, so do the math. Woohoo! Yay. Okay. So take a minute, write down any notes you need. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. I'm only counting, so I give you enough time to pause and unpause and all that kind of stuff. So if you wanted to write it down, there you go. Okay, so for example, what is 75% of 45? This is your math problem. It's a word problem. So you find your is right there, right? Here's your equal sign. Then you know that on the left you have what? So we're going to put that down here. That is your unknown number. And then over here, we're going to have, let me see here, the stuff that's right here, 75% of 45. So 75%, you take the decimal, move it over 2, so it's 0.75 of is x and 45. So x equals 0.75 times 45. All right. So we've done the translation. Now all we have to do is the math. So now x is going to equal 0.75 times 45, which when you do the math is going to come out to 33.75. So 33.75 is 75% of 45. Okay? Not hard. It's just math. Okay, let's do another one. 13 is what percent of 25? All right, so we have our is, which is going to be our equal sign. On the left of it is 13. 13 is, now what percent? So that's going to be, we know that it's what, so it's an unknown, and we know that when at the end of it, we're going to have to make it a percentage. So here's your x of 25. Okay, so now what we have to do is work out this problem the same as we would any other problem where we have to find the value of x. Now the thing is because we have the x in the middle of a multiplication problem, we have to actually divide it away. Divide this 25 out. So we're going to put 13 equals x times 25. I'm going to put both of these numbers divided by 25 by way of a fraction. So then this, let's see here. So then we get 13 divided by 25 equals x. And then when you do that math, that 13 divided by 25, it's going to end up being 0.52 equals x. But remember, we have to make it a percentage. So in order to make a decimal into a percentage, we move this over 2. So then this becomes 52% equals x. So 13 is 52% of 25. Okay? I know that there's some math magic that happens here, but as long as you know what it is, what to do, you can actually, for this portion of it, use a calculator and it would be fine. I know you know how to divide, so it's 13 divided by 25. Because that's, remember, all fractions are a division problem waiting to happen. Okay, so don't forget to double check your math, read through the word problems again, and think about whether or not your answer makes sense. What is the halfway point of 25? The halfway point of 25 is 12.5. 13 is just a half of a point, or 5/10, or 5/10 of a point over 12.5. So it's just over halfway, which 52% is just over half. So by estimation, you can tell that this is, if not the right answer, very close, but it is the right answer. Okay, let's take a look at something else here. 4 is 40% of what number? Now, what I want you to do is pause the video and give yourself a minute to try to put together the problem and see what you got. Pause now. Okay, so hopefully what you've written down is your equal sign over here, 4, and then 40%, which we're going to turn that into a decimal, right? We're going to get rid of this, move this over 2, and make it 0.4. 0.4 of x, what number? Oops, of dot of what number, which is x. So 4 is 0.4 times x. Okay, so what we have to do again is isolate this x by dividing it out. We're going to do that by going like this. We're going to put 0.4 under both of these numbers. So 4 over 0.4 equals x. Now when you have a decimal inside of a fraction, you have to move all the decimal points over. So we're going to move it over 1, so it's like that. And since we did it on that side, we have to do it on this side. So this becomes 40. Okay, let me show you again this real quick. We had 4 over 0.4. So we're moving this decimal out because you can't have a decimal in a fraction and still work it out. So you have to move this over to here so that it becomes the whole number 4. And then this is the whole number 4. So you have your imaginary decimal right there. And you're going to move it over 1 space. And what has to take that place is a 0. So then you have 40 over 4. Okay? Now, you can actually reduce this. 4 goes into 40 how many times? Any guesses? That's right, 10. So now 10 equals x. So to say this again, 4 is 40% of 10. 4 is 40% of 10. Okay? It's really not hard. I know this is kind of a little bit foreign, but it's okay. It's not difficult. Just follow the steps that I gave you. Okay. One more, and then we're going to start checking our work a little bit. Okay, so what percentage is 5 of 1.25? Question mark. Okay, well, same thing that I did last time. I'm going to give you a minute to try to come up with what the problem is supposed to be. So I'm going to give you a minute to pause it and come back. Okay, so hopefully what you got is this again, understanding that this is going to be x, but when we're done with the problem, we're going to have to turn it into a percent, is 5 of 1.25. All right, so x equals 5 times 1.25. We're going to carry this down. X equals, when you multiply these two together, you get 0.25. And then because we have to turn it into a percentage, x equals, move this over, 1, 2, and turn it into percent. X equals 25%. Okay? So 25% is 5 of 125. Sounds a little awkward when you say it that way. But another way of saying it is 5 is what percentage of 125, which should be pretty clear to you because you could actually write it another way. So if you were to write it, 5 is what percentage of 125, you would actually come up with the same thing. Okay, because it's all multiplication, so that's all commutative property of not commutative property. I forget what that's called. I'm sorry. Late again. But anyway, when you multiply, multiplication ends up with the same whether it's on one side of the equals or the other. All right. Well, I hope that cleared that up. So let's just do a couple more problems, and hopefully that will help you out. Okay. Let me get my handy dandy calculator out, because I'm not going to do this math. Let's see here. What is 3% of 97? Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of seconds. Pause the video. Come up with what you think the problem is supposed to be. Okay, so here's what the problem is going to look like. What is going to be your x? That is your equals. This, you're going to start right here where the percentage is and move it over 1 and 2, making you have to put a 0 there. 0.03 of, which is multiplication, 97. From there, it's just basic, simple math. 0.03 times 97 is 2.91. Okay. 3% of 97 is 2.91. But to put it back into its restating the question, how about that? 2.91 is 3% of 97. Yay! Okay, that was good. Let's try another. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to give you enough time to actually do the whole problem this time. Okay. What is 45% of 60? Question mark. Okay. You want to pause? You pause. Work out the problem, and we'll come back and see if you got the whole answer. Okay. What is going to be your x is 45. You're going to have your decimal here and move it over 1, 2. 0.45 of will be your times 60. Okay, 0.45 times 60 is going to be 27. To restate that question, it's going to be 27 is 45% of 60. How'd you do? Did you get it right? Okay, at this point, if you're still not getting it, I suggest that you come and join me at our math meetup on Friday. Well, it's not a math meetup, but I'm going to be doing support from 10 to 12 on Friday. Come and see me. Let me know. I will help you. Okay. Thanks, guys.